Yeah, it's incredible. Measurement used to be sort of a boring topic, and now it's exciting. So for us involved in the sort of research and analytics world, this is an exciting time. It's an exciting time because we are, for the first time, looking at a space that is competitive. You are seeing now the emergence of competitors like VideoAmp or iSpot or 605 that are challenging Nielsen and that are challenging the space in general with new techniques, with new tools, and competition is good. Competition is good for everybody. So this is going to make the whole measurement environment better.
So with all of the disruption and all the new partners, all the different players that are coming into the mix, is there a common currency around measurement possible? What might that look like?
Yeah, that's the discussion that we're all having, right? Will there be a common currency? Nielsen has been the common currency for so many years, and the fact I think that there's still Nielsen will still be a very important player in media, in both in currency and planning. The question is, are these new players going to be additions, or is somebody going to come in and sort of replace the previous common currency? It's hard to tell at this point. I believe that we are going to end up in a sort of multi-currency world. And, as the media fragments, I think that measurement will somehow fragment. Now, I don't think we're going to have 20 players, but we may have 3 or 4 that are really important versus one.
You talked about fragmentation and sort of different audiences in the market. How can measurement platforms make sure to count a diverse population, and how does that factor into what you're doing at Univision?
Yeah, that point is critical because we're a top 5 media company in this country, and as such we're involved in testing and developing and working with all of these new entrants to help make those tools representative of every consumer. And in the case of the Hispanic consumer, so we have a double sort of duty here. We operate like any other media company, and we want to make sure that the new tools count audiences appropriately. But in the case of Hispanics, you have characteristics like high over-the-air audience, the use of a different language that are not necessarily being counted appropriately or accurately by some of these new entrants. And we're working with them to lend our expertise and help them create the tools and algorithms so we make sure that everybody is counted. So representation of minorities is critical in this new media world, in this new currency world.
You introduced a word that I haven't heard in a lot of the conversations around measurement. We've talked about currency, we've talked about sort of attribution, but you said planning. Can you tell me a little bit more about that planning piece?
Yeah. The fact is that these tools are both going to be used for measurement and for transacting, but they're also going to be used for planning. And if there is a group of consumers that is not represented and can be seen during the planning process, then they will be missed by brands, and brands will be missing an important growth opportunity. So, and I mentioned planning also in the fact that, when we're in a multi-currency world, well, different tools are going to play different roles. Some of them are going to be more important in planning, and some of them are going to be more important in transacting. We don't know how this is going to play out at the end.
So, what's the biggest challenge you're looking at in terms of measurement? Is it counting your diverse audience? Is it streaming? Is it attribution? What's the biggest problem you're trying to solve?
Well, I think the biggest challenge for everybody is how to accurately count unduplicated impressions across platforms, right? As the media fragments, how do you make sure you're counting reach accurately? And so that's the basic that all of us are dealing with. But then from the multicultural perspective is, okay, how do you also understand the multicultural element, the Hispanic element, and are we being counted correctly? And all of these tools that are coming out are measuring devices. So the question is, how do you go from devices to persons? So the personification of the data is critical. And in Hispanic, how do you make sure that you not only understand all Hispanics, but Spanish-speaking Hispanics, younger, people who are less time in the country or more. So there's a bunch of nuances that this big data doesn't necessarily capture yet, or that you have to distill. And that's sort of where the devil is in the details, and we have to work on it.
Last question is, are you happy to be back at Cannes?
Oh, I'm very excited to be back at Cannes, and and I also wanted to just mention the fact that Nielsen, I think, will remain a key player. We're working with them on understanding Nielsen 1, and the fact that they have a panel that is representative of the Hispanic population, that has been recruited to follow sort of the census profile. It's very important. I mean, because that panel could eventually be used for calibration of some other tools. But it's important to have representative tools to understand what we're not counting.